Welcome to the Innovation in Arizona podcast. My name is Brenda Thompson. I'm the Executive Director of Arizona Humanities and your host for today's podcast. And you're in for a real treat because something very exciting is traveling through Arizona, Smithsonian exhibition called Spark, Places of Innovation. You probably have heard a little bit about it already because we've already been to 4 rural communities in Arizona, but you haven't missed it yet because we are here now in Tubac, Arizona, and we have one more place to go before the exhibit is over. We'll land in Yuma, Arizona. One of the things that's so exciting about the exhibit is that we get to highlight not only stories of innovation that are featured in the exhibit, but stories of innovation that are happening right here in each community that we visit. And today, one of the things that is a special treat is a guest artist that will be joining us. Her name is Jaye Allyn, and she's an artist that lives here in Tucson, Arizona, and her work focuses on reclaimed materials that can be used for both artwork and to better the environment. So Jaye, if I can start by asking you a little bit about yourself, and I think probably the first thing on my mind is, what brought you to Tucson, and what do you do here?
Well, I'm retired now. I'm a Colorado native, and the thing that brought me here from Colorado was when I built this tiny home that you're sitting in. Once I finished it, I got the rude awakening about residential zoning laws in Colorado and how inhospitable they were for my goals and my dreams. And so I hooked it all to the back of my truck and hauled it out here and started pursuing my agenda here in Tucson.
Wonderful. And I know that the listeners can't see the spot that we're in, but I have to tell you, it's quite beautiful. It's a very beautiful property, but also just the way that you have created the space makes it unique. And I hope that people will get to see spaces like this because it's a place that's unique because it's tucked into nature, but it feels like it's a part of nature. So we get to see your ducks and your tortoise and your dogs and the animal life that is here tucked in this place, and right, the trees, the cactuses, the saguaro, everything that's right here. It's a very inspiring place to be, and your imprint is on it. I want to ask you about something that I learned when I was studying up on you and what you do, and one of the things that I learned about was your role in this exhibit and one of the things that you're contributing to it. And it said that you did a wicking bed demo that demonstrates how to use these reclaimed materials to make gardens flourish. So, Jaye, what the heck is a wicking bed? And can you tell me a little bit more about that companion program to the Smithsonian exhibit?
Well, absolutely. As I was serving on the steering committee for the the Tubac Center for the Arts, for this display, we started trying to identify how we could have a longer imprint as a result of the Spark traveling exhibit, and we were looking at the Tubac Community Garden. And I had just started doing some research on my own about these wicking beds because gardening here is a little bit like trying to garden on the face of Mars. And in the summertime, it gets really challenging. And so I fell across this information about a wicking bed when I saw a thing on the Facebook Marketplace where somebody took a tote and turned it into a wicking bed, and I'm like, well, what the heck is a wicking bed? Kind of like what you're doing right now. Same questions, and so I started doing research. Lots of information on the web, and I started with a 5-gallon bucket. So the crux of the wicking pot or the wicking bed is that you have a basin of water that's underneath. So I don't have holes in my pot. It's all enclosed. And then there's a separation between the water, so it's like a water table, and then your grow medium. And the water wicks up through the grow medium, so you're watering bottom up instead of top down.
Interesting.
And there's a bunch of different ways to do it. I've got three different versions.
Mm-hmm.
One where I use discarded plastic bottles, and I'll perforate them, poke holes in them. I'll put them on the bottom of my bucket, and then you've got a fill tube and a weep hole, right? So, say comes through a big rainstorm comes through and it floods your pot, right? Then your pot's not just sitting there waterlogged; it has this little weep hole. Okay. So the beautiful thing about it here in Arizona is that water is protected from the hot sun and the evaporation that happens when you water from the top down. It waters from the bottom up, so it encourages roots to dig deeper.
Interesting.
Which is what every gardener wants. And I get a nice even distribution of moisture throughout all the soil, which is really challenging here in Arizona when you're watering from the top down. And what I'm finding so far is that I don't have to recharge my wicking pots more than maybe once a week or less. When I would have to be watering my garden top down daily, if not twice a day, and going through a lot more water. So in that respect, it not only saves my time, it's less stress on my plants. I'm trying to see if it extends the grow season for some of my crops. And it's
treating that precious resource more efficiently.
Exactly.
And that makes you think that if you can do it on a small scale, what would it be like if we could do it on a larger scale, especially with water becoming less and less available naturally in our environment, and the challenges with changes in climate. It's a way of being able to live within the environment safely
and respond to other issues like Project Blue.
Now tell me about that.
Project Blue is a hot topic here in Tucson. There's some large developers that want to put data centers here in Tucson. And data centers consume
huge amounts of water.
Consume a huge amount of water and consume a huge amount of electricity. The sad thing is that the groundwater resources here in all of Arizona have been depleting for the last 2 decades or better, and we're in severe drought. So having that resource here, and I'm not saying AI is bad or data centers are bad, but it just doesn't match up very well, and we as individuals might not be able to chase the developers away and avoid data centers, but there are other things that we can do and
to preserve water. And I think it's the same thing too. That may be what's in the public eye at the moment, but farming, ranching, tourism, watering your lawn, even in a residential community, there's so many things that we do that people have learned to do differently by using desert plants, using rocks, using runoff water and drainage, making sure that they're using different type of water, not groundwater, that can be repurposed, and then also determining how that affects animal and plant life, shade features and high density areas, and I'm hearing even on highways and streets, black tops and cements that are made with different materials, mixed materials that don't retain heat, because the heat doesn't give up. When it's 104 degrees, it shouldn't be 94 degrees on the sidewalk at midnight. There's ways to release that heat by using different building materials. So I think we just have to think about all of those things, but what a great place to think about it when it's something that is so vital to every kind of life. Water. So this is interesting to me because this is like STEM stuff we're talking about, and you're an artist. So that means art is not siloed. Art is not separate from STEM. It's all about the human experience and how we engage in different ways. But I want to hear more too about your artistry generally, because I dove quickly into one thing that I knew that you were doing in connection with Spark. But tell me about your art and what you love doing and what you've done.
Well, in all fairness, I'm going to throw you a curveball. I have a degree in applied mathematics.
What? I love it.
I like to tell people that I was raised in a child labor camp, but and usually everybody laughs. My parents don't laugh, but my parents.
They're like, she's just joking.
My parents were both farm kids, and so when they raised their family, they held on to those values of labor. The kicker is I just never let go. So I started framing, doing like basement remodeling and all that other stuff when I was 9.
That's not a typical 9-year-old activity, can I just say?
Well, that's you. That
was typical for you.
And so I never stopped, and it gave me the tools that I needed to look at a situation and build or fabricate or create the things that I maybe couldn't afford. Right? And so I was a kid started. I think the mathematician in me always kicks in, and I think about, well, does the styrofoam and the water affect the grow season, and is it going to help me regulate temperatures and protect the roots and all of this stuff?
So this is totally the essence of innovation. When I think about every community that we've been to, when people describe something, the innovation is not only unique to the community, the place they physically find themselves, but also to your vision. You're the artist's vision, or the scientist's vision, or the farmer's vision, or the teacher's vision. It's unique to where they are. They are inspired by who they're interacting with or what a need is. And I think just before we started this interview, we were talking about necessity being the mother of invention.
Exactly.
That is so much true in the examples of some of the things that you're doing. And when I think about another thing that I heard you're a part of, in terms of the Upcycling Exhibit, how does that tie in thematically to who you are and the work that you do? Because they're featuring you as part of that exhibit. Is it because of this innovation that you're sort of just giving us different examples of?
In one sense, it's a bit of an addiction. I think that I was sent here with the gift to build, and feeding that need, or feeding the gift, is my highest calling. But I find myself trying to come up with new solutions. I do consider myself a solutions-based individual. And we're not just talking math. But when we have a homeless problem, right? What is the answer? And there's not just one answer. But what are the possibilities? One of the projects that I have on display at the Tubac Center for the Arts for this Smithsonian Spark thing is, I call it the Bed Spring Project. I'm driving around in an industrial part of Tucson, and I drive past a mattress that has been on the side of the road for so long that the material itself is all
just floated
deteriorated, and you have all these bed springs sticking out of it. And I found myself asking, well, what could I do with bed springs? Because it's fun, right?
Oh my God, I cannot imagine a regular person going, that's something I can do something with, and not just going, well, that's trash. Why did someone leave that by the side of the road? Why hasn't someone cleaned that up by now? And you're looking at that and saying, what can I do with that?
Yeah.
So tell me, what are you thinking about when you see something like that?
Well, I came up with what I first of all found it like a difficult problem, which makes it even more fun. It wasn't simple. To date, I've come up with 4 different projects out of it, and then I wrote up a little paper that broke down how much money I made per spring so far. And I'm gonna just like truncate all of this one because it kind of goes into various different details. But I calculated how much trash I kept out of the landfill by calculating the weight of the springs. And I calculated how much I sold X item for. So like the first project that I did was I totally refashioned a relatively ugly floor lamp into an elongated desk lamp that has the springs hanging from 5 flex arms. And then I've got a long Edison bulb that has that same spiral hanging from that you could see at the exhibit. I've got what started as a wine bottle hummingbird feeder that is suspended within the spring, and it hangs from the spring. I've got the window spinners, which we needed because we had birds flying into and dying on the window. So these window spinners reflect lights and keep them from
the birds.
Yep, and they're attractive to look at. But the short end of this story is each spring has brought me somewhere between $30 and $60. And
you've kept it out of a landfill.
And if I kept it out of but this isn't the exciting part. If this mattress, the average mattress, has 700 to 800 springs in it. So if I calculate my average, I could generate $25,000 to $50,000 of income from these bed springs. Now, I'm not saying that the bed springs are worth $50,000, but there's an economy here.
With the innovation applied, you can make something out of something which other people consider trash.
How exciting is that? If I could go to you and say, hey, Madam Mayor, right? I found this resource on the side of the road and generated $50,000 in income.
Would you invest
from it?
That's how you build communities.
That's how you build economies.
And I love it because those two things go together.
Yeah.
And I also love it because it's inspiring. And also, if people haven't gotten to the Spark exhibit yet, they need to get there and check this out firsthand. I know you do demonstrations there, but there's also things they can see. And I really want them to check it out because I think even just hearing you describe it, it's more important than just seeing it, knowing the story behind it and the path to that. Even just walking down the street, you can see something that's ordinary and turn it into something that's extraordinary. I wanted to, I know we're about to wrap, but I want to ask you what you think you're most excited about for this upcoming exhibit. But is there anything that you would want people who visit the Spark Places of Innovation exhibit to take away? Is there something that you think it's important if they visit that they should be thinking about or learn from it?
So my participation in the Spark Places of Innovation here in Tubac revolves around an experiment that I am doing in regenerative economics. In that I created the Refresh Makers Collective, which includes a couple of other students, woodworking students that I met through Pima Community College. And we have been exploiting a model that I came up with, a business model that revolves around fundraisers. And the crux of the fundraiser model is that rather than expecting artists to just give you their work, or rather than expecting the people to come forth and just gift you their money, which is a dicey proposition anyway, right? My business model partners. So we take the artists and we partner with an organization. It could be a small business, it could be a charity or other organization, and they provide the venue and their outreach, and then the artists provide the wares. We have an event, we sell our wares, and then 25% of everything that's sold goes back into the community as part of a fundraiser. So you get this 360 that feeds itself.
Sustainable.
It is, hopefully it's sustainable. Right now I'm doing a lot of work and I'm a little tired. But it's a different model. It's not part of this ideology where everybody who touches a product gets their cut. So you've got markups and then markups and then markups. And so the person on the end that's really trying to buy the widget is paying 4 other people.
And many times the artist doesn't get the return on it either.
The artist doesn't get very much at all.
So tell me about the name, the Refresh. Did you come up with that as well?
I did. So when you think about recycle and remake and reinvent and I just thought that Refresh was the ticket that described what we were doing.
I like it. I think it makes me feel optimistic. And I also feel like when I think about the future, and it's now 2026.
It is.
I feel like what gives me hope for the future is this kind of innovation and creativity. And this fact that it's not siloed into one area. Everything that you're doing is so intertwined with community. I still can't quite get my head wrapped around the fact you have a science and math and engineering background, and you're an innovative artist as well, and have beautiful, birds and a tortoise in your yard, and you're renovating your own home, doing your own construction. You're a Renaissance woman and a gem to have, and it's been a pleasure to interview you today. And folks, get out there and check out Spark. If you haven't done it, do it now. Have a great day, and thank you for visiting us for the Innovation in Arizona podcast.